Well, I trust that everybody's having a nice holiday season, and I thought we might as well get a little bit psychedelic. Now, this group can really be considered as a one-hit wonder. They actually formed in the Bronx in 1964, and they called themselves the Trenchcoats, and they played some clubs around Greenwich Village. But the Trenchcoats never really caught on, so then they decided to change their name to a really weird spelling, and they called themselves the Blues Magoos. But that didn't catch on either. So then they changed their name just to the Blues Magoos. And guess what? They got a recording contract, and they became one of the first groups to ever have the word psychedelic on their album. So are you ready to take a trip with a garage band out of the Bronx, the Blues Magoos? All right then, let's drop the needle. In 1966, the Blues Magoos get a recording contract, and they are one of the first bands to have the word psychedelic on their album cover. But they're not the first band to call their music psychedelic. That honor goes to a band from Austin, Texas, called the 13th Floor Elevators, and their song was You're Gonna Miss Me. Now, a fun fact, particularly for those of you who do not live in the United States, in the United States, there are generally no 13th floors on any of the high-rises. That's because it seems that they're superstitiously unlucky. So here we have a band out of Texas calling themselves the 13th Floor Elevators and coining the term psychedelic for the music they were playing, not out of San Francisco, but out of Austin, Texas. But let's go back to the Blues Magoos. Their album is called Psychedelic Lollipop, and it contains their biggest hit. It soared into the top 10, and it's called We Ain't Got Nothing Yet. Besides that, the album includes Tobacco Road, Queen of My Nights, I'll Go Crazy, Gotta Get Away, and One by One. After the release of the album, they capitalize it by appearing on American television, on American Bandstand, on Where the Action Is, and even the Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour. In April of 1967, they released their second album, which is called Electric Comic Book. Now, this is actually a very fun album, and I like this a whole lot. The lead-off was a minor hit called Pipe Dream, and then there's A Chance We Can Make It. I also really like Life is Just a Cherub Bowlies, and their cover of Van Morrison's Gloria. And then I talked about their great song, Intermission, in one of my earlier episodes where we took an intermission. You might want to check that out. And the last song in the album is the Looney Tunes' That's All, Folks, and it's a hoot. And then don't miss also Albert Common is Dead and Rush Hour. With the release of the second album, management put them on the road to tour with Herman's Hermits and The Who. But then management also put them in these weird electric suits. Next comes album 3, Basic Blues Magoos, and it finds the group moving from psychedelia more to blues rock. But it didn't do very well. In fact, the album didn't even chart. Nonetheless, I like the lead off, Sybil Green of the In-Between. Then they do a cover of the Move song, I Can Hear the Grass Grow, which is a great song. I Can Move a Mountain. Then the great President's Council on Psychedelic Fitness, Scarecrow's Love Affair, There She Goes, and Subliminal Sonic Laxative. But as I say, the album didn't sell. Shortly thereafter, in 1968, the original band breaks up. But then some of the band members decide to move to LA. And in 1969, with new guys joining the group, they decide to release an album called Never Going Back to Georgia. Well, I don't think they ever did, and the album certainly didn't. It went nowhere. A bunch of guys left again, and then they brought in new guys again and decided, oh, we'll make another album, and we'll call it Gulf Coast Bound. But I don't think they ever went to the Gulf Coast, and like the previous album, neither did the record. There was no audience for this, and the Blues Magoos broke up shortly thereafter. In 2008, the original members of the Blues Magoos reform to go on tour with the Zombies. And then in 2014, they decide that they will record a new album, and it's called Psychedelic Resurrection. But the sad fact was it could not resurrect the band. But they're still out there touring. Now, you can't deny that their golden days were from 66 to 68. I like their first 3 albums. And who can deny the great hit of We Ain't Got Nothing Yet? Now, as usual, I've created a Spotify playlist. And here's the link, and I'll put it in the comments as well. So you can go there and listen to the music of the Blues Magoos. So I'm glad you took this trip with me, this psychedelic trip, back to that garage band in the Bronx. I hope you've enjoyed it, and until next time, keep it rockin'.
If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.